I'm live.
You are?
Says live.
Where?
Oh, on the top of my screen.
Well, if we're live, we're live, but let me go ahead and just double check. I don't know if we are or we aren't. So it says we're live. I'm going to go ahead and enter my live studio here. So hopefully everybody's able to see us. Give me one moment. So it looks like this is not working. Give me a moment. I keep getting all these silly pop-ups. There, I see you live. I see me live. So we are live. I think it looks like we're locking up here a little bit though. Lots of things going on. Excellent. Okay, well, I guess we're live here, Cheryl. So, hey, welcome to everybody. Let me go ahead, grab up some notes here because I want to say welcome to Friday Live with Client Hub. And I want to thank everybody for watching us today. If I haven't yet had the pleasure of meeting you, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Judy McCarthy. I'm an accounting and technology geek and a 23, oh my goodness, I'm too old, 23-year QuickBooks Pro advisor and the co-founder of Client Hub. And I have the great pleasure today of being joined by Cheryl Willett of Willett Business Management. And Cheryl, I want to make sure that we can go ahead and, are you there? Can you say a couple of words?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Judy, for having me
Thank
co-host
you,
with you
Cheryl.
today.
Well,
I'm really excited for this opportunity
thank
and
you, Cheryl.
looking forward to it.
And I can't even see you here. So what is going on? I don't know if anybody can tell me if we can see you. We're live. Thank you. Excellent. I appreciate that. So oh, Cheryl, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. I don't know why, but for some reason my live is not live. It's delayed live. So I guess I have to not look at it at all. But anyway, so I want to kind of fill in the audience today. And so this is only our second live production. We're doing Client Hub Live every other Friday at noon, 1 o'clock Eastern time. And so we're really going to be just covering topics that are important to the accounting profession. And so you introduced yourself just briefly, but I want to tell our audience today that in full disclosure, so Cheryl and I are really, really good friends, and it's accounting and technology that connected us. So Cheryl, do you remember when we met?
Oh my gosh, it's been at least 10 plus years ago, starting with the Sleater group. That's where we actually met at a Sleater group. I think they were doing a road show at the time.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was the road show in Tampa in
Yeah.
June of 2012. So it was 9 years ago. The funny story though, I mean, Cheryl and I just connected instantly. And we're both live in Florida. However, we grew up within about 30 miles of each other in Massachusetts, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we met at that kind of one event. And then I think we reconnected the next year at another Sleater
At
event.
a
So
Sleater
Doug,
conference.
yeah. So
In
Doug, if you're
California
watching, thank
or
you.
Vegas. Might have
Las
even been in
Vegas.
Vegas.
It was
Yes.
Vegas. And our families have gotten to know each other. We're in Florida, but we're about 4 hours apart as to drive. But we spend vacations together. So, and our husbands think we're crazy because when we get together, the only thing we talk
We
about
love
is
accounting.
accounting and technology. So Cheryl, thank you for being my guest today. We are going to talk about, so I reached out to Cheryl. I said, love to have you here on the live. What topic's important and what topic do you want to talk about? And so Cheryl said, what I think is really important is, workflow, but not our workflow. We're going to talk about client workflow today. And so how it is, how important it is to really add value to the service that you provide to your clients by helping them develop really good habits in how they do their work and how it can affect you and your firm. So, Cheryl, I did have a list. Hold on, I closed off my notes here. My bad. Don't you love live? Live is absolutely great. Great. By the way, while I'm pulling those up, I just showed Cheryl this lovely, almost 4 pounds of M&Ms my husband bought me for Easter. They're really helping to support my weight loss goals. If
It's
I
all
put them
about
down, then
goals.
yeah.
It's all about goals.
If I put the 4 pounds of M&Ms down, I'll actually lose a couple pounds. So, okay, Cheryl. So I'm pulling up my notes here, and so let's go ahead and start and talk about, why is it really important to help our clients develop these types of processes and workflows? Why is it important to them, and how can it benefit us as a firm owner?
That's a really good question. Well, first of all, many clients, when a client comes to us, or when a client comes to me anyway, what I find is often when it comes to the accounting, they don't even know where to start. They may have a bookkeeper, they may have had several bookkeepers or other people that they're working with, but they don't understand what's important, why things should be important to them, and how to put things in perspective or in an order so that the financial management makes sense to them. So, putting processes in place helps them to identify the tasks, what's really important in their business, and then putting the processes together so that as their business grows, as they take on new employees, new staff, the organization starts to grow, but also it includes the financial pieces and why the financial pieces are important. And workflow, if we all have to understand what goes on in a company. If we don't understand when you're working with the accounting portion, if you don't understand, there's often pieces that are missing. So having good processes helps the client to be much more efficient, helps their bookkeeper also, and this comes back to some other things which I'll go back to in a further on in our conversation. But also when it comes to the firm, if the client is organized and their financial management is in good shape, because they have good financial tools that they're using as well as processes that they're using, then it makes your job easier as the bookkeeper or the accountant to be able to do create reports for them, doing analysis, creating a tax return, being compliant with state and federal tax issues. It just makes everybody's life so much easier when the client is organized. And so it really starts with the client and how to help the client do get into that position. But the clients, it becomes very refreshing to them that someone takes an interest and is able to help them with this process.
Exactly, exactly. And so, and I think it really starts even before that. It starts with just those good habits and those good practices of getting into the routine of business. And,
Absolutely.
what I see is so many business owners are just so, they're so laser focused on my, I have to spend my day thinking about how can I generate revenue. That's the most important thing, is getting money into the account to pay for everything.
Absolutely.
And they just think of all those other things, like the bookkeeping and the gathering of the documents and things. They look at those as just, I don't know, like what we'll do when we have spare time. And we know in a small business there's never any spare time, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're working with a client, right? You're working with a client and you know that there's so much benefit to providing the types of services that you can to help them deep dive into how they're running their business and how they're spending their time. So what would be like the first step in the
Mhm.
process of getting a client to engage with you, and so that you can help them with that process, and where would you start?
So the first thing I do is I start with an assessment and really sitting down with the client and digging deeper into their business, looking at what's most important to them, what are their goals for their business as well as personally. I really do a deep dive initially, getting to know that client and their business, because the more I know about them, the easier my tasks are going to be, but also it's digging deep, even deeper than that, asking the client questions, like identifying who is responsible for what. So many times, even in these conversations, you can identify so many things that are being overlooked or they're not even thinking about. And as an outside third party, we have the opportunity to observe things through a lens that the business owner often does not see.
Absolutely.
And
You're
and
so right.
and that just makes such a big difference in their life. So many times I will be working with a client in that initial meeting, and they would make comments that I never saw it that way. I never thought about that. I never thought about how it affects other people in my company. So it's looking at that, being relatable to the client, understanding, as long as you're understanding and relating to the client and really trying to build that relationship from step one, that is the first piece, and they trust you. They start to really rely on the things that you're saying, and they truly believe that you understand the situation that they've been in. Now, for me, I've owned a few different businesses in retail. Also, we owned a soft serve ice cream shop at one time, but I've owned businesses. So I understand what a business owner goes through. And I can tell you, accounting is not the most important thing on their mind. However, it should be the most important thing to when they're starting their business, because
Mhm.
if there is not any financial management that's being tracked well and used to assess how the health of the business is going, that's they're not going to be in business very long. Really, this has to be a roadmap, getting them to understand. It's helping to educate the client, but it's also helping them to see things that they may not see. And once they start seeing these things, it's easier to guide them into developing processes because they see a way out. Because sometimes, well, most of the time, when a client comes to us, by that time, they're already deep in the swamp. And they're trying to figure out, what is it that I need to do?
Isn't that too bad? Wouldn't it be great if like we could have perfect clients come right to us, right? And just I don't know if you've ever had one. I've had one, I think, and I have to say honestly, I've had like one perfect client come to me that has great habits. They've already got really good processes. They they stay on top of what needs to be done. They do prioritize working
Mhm.
on their business, making, that a priority. And like I said, but there's so many of them are focused on generating revenue. And I'm guilty of that as well. As an accounting
Right.
professional, you know, I have to tell you this year, I missed the deadline with my CPA because I have a CPA that does my corporate returns. And I missed the deadline for my CPA to get everything to them for tax time because I was so busy getting all my clients' work to their CPAs for tax time. So,
Absolutely.
so we both get it.
We do that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We absolutely get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And so when when we're talking about helping clients develop those good habits, those processes, and those workflows, we know it's not only about what they need to do, but when it comes to working with us as accountants, it's the deadlines. Like when do you need to have that done by? And then how do we communicate back and forth that we need that from you and you've returned it to us? And so, developing those really helping our clients develop those really good habits, because I have had clients where, we used to use Dropbox, for instance,
Mhm.
and back in the good old days before Client Hub. So I have to pitch Client Hub here for a minute. But before Client Hub, we would send our clients an email and we would say, we'd either give them a link and say, hey, click this link to upload your bank statements to Dropbox, or we would say, just tell them, if we had a shared Dropbox, say, hey, please upload these here. So a couple things would happen. Number one, either the client would not do it and we'd have to keep going and checking back into that Dropbox, or the client would upload those and not communicate back to us and say, hey, I uploaded those statements. So then we wouldn't know, okay, I can go and do the work. So is this something that you cover with your clients about not just process, but timelines and communication?
Absolutely. Timeline, communication, also deadlines. And you're right. It is, you have to set those expectations with your clients at the beginning
Run.
of the
Wait a
of
minute,
the
can you say that
engagement.
again? Say that.
Yes, you have to set those expectations with the client at the beginning of the engagement. Because if
Yeah.
you don't, that's when things get rocky. It's really important to stress that. Now, do they all follow that? Not always. But using tools such as Client Hub, it really helps you to be able to communicate with your client. And I know my clients really like Client Hub. They are always telling me it's just so easy, to use. But the thing is, as Judy was saying, we used to use Dropbox. Today, if you're an accountant, a bookkeeper, you should be using a secure pro- process, document management. Whatever you're using, it has to be secure. And Dropbox, unfortunately, is not one of those. And email for sure is not. And no one should be sending financial information via email. And I tell my clients, if you send something email, I will not open it. It has to be uploaded to a secure portal like Client Hub. It's for your security as well. And sometimes they're in a hurry and they will send something to me, and I will not look at it.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah.
let them know, you please upload that, document. And also it keeps it all in one place, which is certainly very helpful. And Judy, I'd like to step back for just a second. You were talking about the best client that you had. And I still, to this day, I have clients that I started with when they started their business. To me, those are like the best clients because you get them before they get into the bad habits, because it's harder to change habits as we go along. However, it's not impossible. It truly is not impossible. And what makes it easier is when you have someone that's walking through it with you and helping you and guiding you. That makes a big difference, and someone that's encouraging you. And I know that not everyone, that's their goal in their firm. Um, but I can tell you that it really does make a big impact when you're working with your clients.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree it does. And so you nailed it. I mean, we talk about what is our relationship with the client, and it's, all this we talk about, it's so much about relationship with the client,
Mhm.
and how we develop that relationship with the client. So, oftentimes, I'll talk with accountants because I have the best job in the world, honestly. I think so because I get to talk to accountants all day, every day, all the time. And so, oftentimes I feel like some of them are a little bit timid, like they're afraid to approach their clients, and develop that kind of relationship. They like almost like, hey, I just work for you. So, I encourage those out there that to look at this as a relationship, and it's a two-way relationship with you and your clients. And um, you know, converse with them. Pick up the phone. I love picking up the phone. People think I'm funny because I actually call people. But pick up the phone and talk to your clients. Don't just expect that they're going to, um, if you send them an invite to Client Hub, that they're just going to accept it. They need to understand. You need to have that communication, those lines of communication, and that's why I think honestly, Zoom is the one of the greatest things in the world because I work all remotely with clients, and I spend an average of probably 4 to 5 hours a day on Zoom. And I love it because I feel like I've got such a close relationship with everybody that I talk to. I'm face to face. It's almost like being at a conference, except you
Mhm.
can't touch the people and the
Absolutely.
food's not as good here. But I think it is. I mean, it's all about relationship. And sometimes too, when we talk about process, um, something that I would like to share is whenever we engage with a new client, we're going to start doing any type of services. As you mentioned, we set those expectations up front but we also work with our clients to set those expectations.
Exactly.
So, I'm not Hitler here. I'm not going to say you need to have, you work to us by this day. These are the deadlines. I work with my clients so that we develop a plan for us to work together. But with that said, I don't let my clients control the how.
Mhm.
We can talk about what works for your schedule. If it's easier for you to get us documents on Wednesday versus Thursday, that's fine. But still, the process of how you do that for us is gonna stay the same. We're not gonna do text with you and email with you and smoke signals with you. It's going to be the same process, but we're going to work with you to make sure that everything works. And then we're also, again, going to help you. Like, if you can't get those things to us, what can we do to help you look internally at what you do in your business and help you figure out when the best time or how you can best fit it into your schedule?
Absolutely.
Um, so Cheryl, another question I kind of had for you on this topic was, okay, so you're engaging with a client, right? A new client reaches out, they've agreed to work with you, and you identify that there's an opportunity here to step in and work with them to help them develop those internal processes and workflows. How would you price a service like that?
So that's a really good question because that's been a struggle over the years. And I have to say that I've been using QuickBooks as the tool, my tool, since 1998, just like Judy. I've been certified since 1998 also.
Oh, you're
Um,
old.
oh, thank you very much. But anyway, I uh, I've worked through this process over the last 10 years, and I have really come up with a good model, I think, that works very well. And as we become more efficient, it's really important to look at our pricing because I used to do a lot of like combinations of flat fee billing and retainer. And I really use value billing now because the more efficient we become, we should not be making less money. We've gained knowledge and experience, and that knowledge and experience is worth something. And so now pretty much everything I do is value billing, unless it is something that is a one-on-one support or something like that. For every project I do, it's value billing. And I've been doing this for long enough now that I have a really good idea how long it should take me based on the information I get up front. Now, sometimes that can be challenging. And if that situation arises, then in my engagement, I stipulate it's going to be between this and this, but no more than this. And that has worked very, very well. And I just find that value pricing, first of all, before I have an engagement with my client, I do meet all of my potential clients initially, initial consultation without a fee. And that's just something I do. And that has always worked well. My business has been at least for the last 5+ years, all referral. Um, I'm very selective about who I work with also because the process I use is not right for everyone. Some people have something very specific they want to accomplish, and that's it. And that's all they want assistance with. But even when I've worked with clients in that mode, as we work together, they see that there's a lot more opportunity for improvement and to make things easier for them. So value pricing has worked very, very well, but you have to be sure you're not giving away the farm. Remember, it took you years of education to get to where you are. You should be still continuing your education, which I love learning. So it's easy for me to do that. And then you're imparting and empowering your clients based on what you already know. And that is very, for them, for the client, that is empowering. They feel that their worth of what they're doing, even if it's not financial, but everything a business owner does is involved it does affect their finances. It empowers them. And many of my clients have, um, they just see the value of that. And since COVID, even more so, because my clients were prepared for whatever came down the road. So value pricing is really the key, and not just a one-time thing. Maybe it's a project that you're working on for that client, and that is a one-time thing. But once you get through that project, then it's an opportunity to open up other avenues of income for your firm. But to me, it's not about the income. We all have to generate a living. We all have to make money. If we're doing the right thing for our client and helping our clients and walking along with them and really helping them to be successful, we will be successful also. And really, that is what it's about. So I can be flexible with clients depending on what we're working with and what their needs are. But it comes down to how can I best help that client to accomplish their personal and business goals.
Absolutely. I love that too. And looking at value, and I'm same here. So we value bill, and so it really does take it takes some time to talk to the client and just say, what is this worth to you? What could you do with your time if if you had more time, or what would you do with the information that we're going to deliver? How could this service that we're providing, um, how could it give you a better work-life balance or make things easier for the people that work with you or work for you, or your vendors or your customers or your accountant? How much better could
Absolutely.
it make that? Um, Last question. So really, and I know this is kind of, and this isn't the last question, but kind of, do you provide your clients with a deliverable? So if you help them, do you kind of help them document their processes? Do you document the processes for them?
I work with them to document the processes. I have found that if I'm documenting the processes for them, that's not always the best. So the first thing that I do is when I'm working with the client, I help them to, first of all, I'm not working with the client typically to become their bookkeeper, which often they want you to, but that's not what my goal is. But it's to understand their business well enough so that I can help develop and implement processes that are going to be helpful for them when they work with a bookkeeper. Most of my clients today do have a bookkeeper, whether it be internal or external. But part of what brought me to doing what I do is that I was working with clients that had a revolving door with bookkeepers. The bookkeeper didn't understand the business owner didn't understand what the bookkeeper is doing. And it gets very frustrating. And after years of going through this, I realized there needs to be something that's, a better match. So I focused on helping the client develop processes. So in some situations, I may document them, but in some, the client documents them.
Yeah.
And then we work together to find the right fit. So it's not just the processes, it's finding the right people to help them. And it may not just be a bookkeeper. It may be they need, a bigger team of resources, an attorney and whatever. But I work with them in all of these aspects. So the deliverable, though, is processes specifically, also that they have access, to me. When I'm working with a client, they have access to me always. We have a monthly retainer. When I say monthly retainer, now after we do the project, now it's on a retainer basis, but we have a complete understanding of what services are available. I meet with my clients, most of them on a monthly basis, right now via Zoom. Sometimes it's in person, at least once a quarter, it's in person. And I do provide reports for internal management, and making decisions and helping them to identify what areas they should be focusing on based again on their goals, or what areas are really out of whack and what's going on. Let's investigate what's going on. So those are
Yeah.
really the deliverables.
Well, and it's, we talk about this stuff all the time. This is just like one of our regular conversations. Yeah. And so again, I mean, so Cheryl and I, by the way, we are accountability partners. We're buddies. We're friends. We have a scheduled call at 7:30 a.m. every Wednesday morning. We both have to be active during that time. So usually I'm riding my bicycle, Cheryl's walking. And the great thing is it's either rain or shine. So Cheryl, thank you for, taking some time out of your busy day. I know you've got family in town that you're visiting with today, and they all went out without you. So thank you for spending some time with me as you're getting ready for the Easter holiday. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
If you want to connect with me, you can either send me an email. I will say, send me an email, Cheryl, Cheryl, at Willett, Willett, business, business, mgmt.com.
And I'll go ahead and put that in the the comments there.
It is long, unfortunately. It is long. Plus, you can also find me at LinkedIn at Cheryl-Willett Business 1972.
Awesome. So a couple other things here before I let everybody go. We've been on about 30 minutes here. Cheryl, I'm going to give you a lightning round. Are you ready?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Chocolate or vanilla?
Oh, chocolate.
Oh, absolutely.
Chocoholic.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Google or Microsoft?
Google. Oh, Microsoft. Sorry, forgot that. You go through this all the time.
Yeah, I know we do. We do go through this. Okay, and desktop or online?
Oh, online now. Not always, but boy, I am now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see, cat or dog?
Cat.
You can lose on that one when you're talking to me.
I know you're a dog person.
I'm both. I have plenty of both. I'm a hedgehog person. Excellent. So before we let everybody go, I want to just let you know that we do have some great new features here in Client Hub. And I know it's hard for us to keep track of and keep everybody updated. So this Wednesday, April 12th at 12 noon Eastern time, we're going to be doing a 30-minute What's New in Client Hub webinar talking about a product that is built for you, the accounting community. I'm going to go ahead and add that link into the comments here. So I hope you'll consider joining us. Whether you're a user or not a user, if you're not a user, then you'll get to see a little bit of Client Hub. Also, if you want to be a guest on our Friday Live with Client Hub, please feel free to go ahead and send me an email or send us an email at info@clienthub.app. And let's see, finally, there was one other thing I was going to mention to folks. Can't remember what it is. Oh, I know. So it is Friday Live with Client Hub, but that's not the best name in the world. So if you've got an idea for the name of our live broadcast here, please feel free to go ahead and share that with me. And I hope you will join me here again on Friday, April 16th, again at 1 p.m. Eastern time for our next live event. So Cheryl, thank you again so much for being with me today. I really appreciate that. I'm wishing everybody a happy rest of your Friday and a great Easter weekend. And we'll see you again in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, Cheryl. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.